So I'm going to do a bit of a review of some mods available on Steam for Company of Heroes 1, and this is the Battle of Crete. Let's see. I do have a lot of maps, not just these from Crete, but generally that I've collated over time. So let us try and find a 2v2. They got some Crete maps. Some more winter. Alright, let's do that. Oh, I better give myself high if I'm playing Brits. So, if you look under Store and you search for Company of Heroes, there's sometimes kind of hidden, but anyway, if you look directly for Battle of Crete, you'll find this. Ooh, what's going on here? Okay, that there is a problem. That is not normal. So I'm gonna actually exit that and see whether it's a map problem. Let's just see. Was it just something weird? Yeah. Alright, let's try it and see whether I get the same problem. Otherwise my review won't be going very far. Generally, I found it quite stable and not a problem. So they did do a recent set of change logs. I'm just pondering whether perhaps they broke it in some way. Okay, maybe this is looking a little bit better now. So you get a different set of units, and it is a much more restricted set of units for both sides, the Germans and the British. And it has an older feel. So you get Bren carriers, you get various early war stuff, and it kind of lacks potent weapons. And I think the authors of the mod have focused on trying to ensure there is a good balance with the units that they put into the game. So the Germans don't have a massive amount of units in the game, except for one thing that I've sort of come across, which is I think that the folks who built the mod have a view that if you play as the Allies or the Brits, you are really up against it just like it was on Crete, because examples would be when they raid you with Stukas, it's completely bonkers, and your Bofors guns really don't do very well in shooting down the Stukas, so you just get bombed to oblivion. And so in a weird way, I sort of recommend it if you enjoy a hard fight that you are kind of up against things and you want to kind of suffer. So I don't know whether I'll end up facing the Stukas in this. I would hope not, but it's not very pleasant. So you do end up under the cosh a lot. And I would say it's not easy, but oddly enough, when I have flipped sides and played the Germans, they too have a restricted set of models and units to bring into play, and they too suffer from some limitations. So generally I'd say it takes the base Company of Heroes game, changes some units you've got less units to mess around with, but it does make for a different game, and that in essence, if you've got a little bit bored of the stale, if you got a bit bored and stale of the standard game, then the good news in that is that you can download the mod, and then you've got another game to mess around with and try out, and test out your strategies and your theories about things. So it does like quite a few mods where they give you in essence a different game. Some of the mechanics and things are basically similar, obviously, but the actual units and what you have to do in the game vary to the degree that it becomes like a new game. And if you enjoy the base game and you're looking for a bit of variety, then mods like this can be a lot of fun. They may not be your mainstay, but they can be a lot of fun. I'm getting a foothold here on the bigger side of the island. That's good. I'm happy with that. Let's put another... What do I have to do to get this? Ah, I see. So on this map, these bridges kind of get a foothold, so you're struggling for that. Okay, that's interesting. Get a medic centre here. So let's see what units I've got options here on. So I've gained the sappers. I will pull them out in a minute to have a look at those. You get a sniper, which you don't get in the standard game. You get a mortar crew, which is a bit unusual. You get a machine gun squad. And in the second truck, you get a Bren carrier, you get the officer, and you get a Matilda. And there are no other trucks, if I remember right. So that is pretty much your lot. So you don't get a vast number of units. You kind of have to fight with what you've got. And it is what it is, really. I want my sappers, and we'll have a look at what they can do. Let's get this captain first, just get him out to the area. I don't know who did the Allied voice acting, but if I remember right, the German voice acting was done by the Austrian DICE team. So the DICE developers in their Austrian studio, if I remember reading some article on this. And although it's many years old now, the voice acting in the game is pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Where's my captain? He's nearly out. So when he's finished, what does that? So that enables the Matilda. And there isn't really a lot more that you get available. I think depending on the tree you may get something extra, but it's not a lot. I get call in a section of commandos is what I get as an extra unit, but it's not overflowing with unit types. I did say I want sappers. Let's have a look at what sappers can put together. I want to see whether the sappers, because I can never remember, I want to see if the sappers are able to do tank traps in the mod, or whether, like the standard game, the sappers can't build tank traps. Let's have a little look at that. So yeah, they can build these items here. So you get no anti-tank, apart from the crappy boys rifle. You get the Bofors, you get the artillery piece, you get mines, and you get the radio detection. But apart from that, so it really does strip a lot of things down. And there are not many tanks, but when the tanks show up, it's a problem because you don't have an easy way of killing them. Really, I think they're only a Panzer III, and you only get the Matilda 2s. So it is a bit of a challenge. Alright, let's go and take a look at these Germans. Don't think the sappers, let me just check this again. Oh, they do get sandbags, so we'll sandbag that up. And we'll give them the boys anti-tank. Oddly enough, the artillery requires fuel rather than ammunition. And fuel is hard to come by in the game. So you don't get an overflowing ability to use artillery to bludgeon people. Unless the map is very fuel rich. Just curious, where are the Germans? Ah, there's the German base, I think. Oh, yeah. Be careful here, boys. That is a bit unpleasant. Does the officer have something? No, he doesn't have artillery or something on that. So, it would be pretty gloomy for me to run across and get seen in this. But I would like to... Oh, there's a wall on this side. Okay, so... see if I can get across here without being shot to ribbons. Okay, managed to get away with it for now. Okay, nightmare. Another AA gun over here, so that's thoroughly unpleasant. But it looks like the Germans haven't really come out to play on this. So I've gone over the Brit units and kind of like the limitations they've got. What I'll do is I'll just flip now by quitting. I'll play as the Germans, same map. So I've got my German base here. Escalate to phases, advance repair, and do various things. So let me bring the officer out. I think that will give me an option to upgrade, and I can drop in my airborne. So I'll drop the first airborne troops in line with Crete, and the divisional things you can bring in are all kind of based around airborne forces. So I'll just pick one. But before I do that, let's look at what you get. Does it allow me to look at the other ones? I should have looked at the other ones. Anyway, you can upgrade these guys. And I can bring in a transport aircraft. So I'll bring that in behind here. I'll bring it in. Good old Junkers 52. The modelling on this is very nice. Whoever did the work on this, they did a really good job with that. So the base units here, I'll produce one of these and I will upgrade to that. Now what can come out of the plane? I can bring bikes, sappers, and I can upgrade units. Let's bring some units out. We'll see what we can do. So the Pyos get the flamethrower upgrade. They can put the observation points. They can use sandbags and they can lay mines. So not that different from the Brit sappers. Getting flamers is perhaps a nice addition for them, but they only 2-man squads, so I suspect they'll die quickly in contact. I'll drop another airborne squad. We'll see how much they cost. So you can only drop it in the visible area. Let's see. They're 375, so relatively expensive troops. So this, when I take that, I get additional ammunition, is what you get. It might vary depending on what various things are. So here's my motorcycle, and that has the ability to button enemy vehicles. Might be useful against Matilda. I'll go defensive here and try and block this bridge. More sappers, so I'll go to this far bridge. I'll sandbag that for now. So I get to elevate that if I've got need more fuel, and I've now got, with the elevation, I've now got a mortar squad, so that's a possibility to upgrade things. What can these guys do? They can just elevate the points, and now because we've elevated, we get the chance to pull an anti-tank gun. So the Germans have an anti-tank gun, the Brits don't. It's kind of interesting. And these guys are Gebirgsjägers. Let's bring those out and have a look at those. Okay, so get this AT gun up. so the sappers don't really get the ability to do very much. And we'll upgrade that and see what we can get. So these are the other infantry unit. What do they get? They can do sandbags. They've got demolition stuff, and they can do medical healing. Medical kit and healing, I should say. And I think, vaguely speaking, that's about it. They don't get a massive amount of things either. So So I now have the Stuka bombing run, which I will show at some point here, just to show how crazy it gets. It is pretty rough for the Allies, I have to say. Now, I don't know whether it's a doctrinal thing where the Panzer becomes available. Let me just get to that if I can. Okay, so they've got a light field howitzer with that upgrade. So let's see, is there another upgrade here? Not yet. Let's see. So the Germans get a field howitzer of some description. And I think under this doctrine, maybe they do not get a tank, but they do get the ability to kill tanks with their AT gun, which is more than the Brits get, so that's a slight advantage there. I'm going to bring this machine gun squad back a little bit. So again, this is dependent on fuel, not on ammunition for the bombing runs. On this particular map there isn't a lot of fuel. Let me go and cap that so that we get a little extra fuel to show off the Stuka runs. Do the Germans get the option to build a machine gun nest or a... So that's one thing they don't have, is they have an inability to... If you want machine guns, you're going to have to produce them, because they don't, by the look of it, have the ability to put down nests like the British do. So there's one moderate advantage for the Brits. I don't think they've got an AA gun, really. Not that they really need it. So I see they've got an airdrop anti-tank gun on this one, so very various options. Uh-oh, machine gun. Time to go. So it looks like you can only have 2 squads of pioneers, which is pretty cramping as to what you might like to do. Ah, okay, so now I can activate the Panzer group. I was wondering where that was, so I need 60 fuel for the Panzer group. Panzer 2s, not 3s. Why did I think 3s? Anyway, Panzer 2s will be available in a moment. So let's do that. Probably fair if you consider the airlift capacity that probably would be limited in terms of bringing in anything other than light tanks. So once you've upgraded, you have the option of paying 600 for tanks, and I think you get 2, and I suspect you can only have those 2. When they die, then you can have another 2, but it's kind of pretty restrictive. So I'll just show the Stuka raid thing now, and you just get a feel for what is perhaps, in my strange opinion, the only overpowered kind of thing in the game. So and the Bofors guns are not very effective against this Stuka raid, so so I counted 3 Stukas in that setup. And this, if I'm right, the Bofors guns are also 450, so they're very expensive in terms of things. The Panzer II's not super effective at dealing damage to things. It's okay, but it's not overpowered. So I've got glider-borne troops here. Let's have a look. Let's try and bring these in. They need to be in an area that I hold, so let's bring them in. And let's see what the glider gives us. Nothing, just the individual troops, and they can lay mines, and that's it really. So nothing too spectacular. So the last thing I've got is the airdrop anti-tank. So I'll see if I can bring that in. It's not very exciting, but we'll just ensure that we have a look at the units. No, I don't want you to kill the truck, I want you to kill the machine gun. That's what I wanted you to do. Focus now. So I can't bring that in there, but I can bring it in here. Again, the folks who did this mod, they did a beautiful job of modelling the Stuka. It's really a good model that they did. So yeah, you can have 2 Panzer IIs, but they cost you 1200, which is a fair old quantity to have to spend. So unlike the Brits in the standard game, the troops can't resupply at this glider. You get Panzer Elite upgrade system for these guys. But that's about it really. So the officer gets some observe fire when he's fully upgraded. And I just want to check that there isn't any further upgrade available back here. So you can upgrade the troops, but no, there's no further. There's only like 3 levels, a bit like the Brits have only got 2 trucks. Anyway, that is a kind of overview of that game, and as I say, if you get a little bit bored of the original, then it's a nice enough mod to install. I don't think it's too huge. It uses quite a bit of the standard game items. I would give it 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, something like that. Nicely done mod. Good work by the people who created it, and I think it's still being updated, so yeah, all good.